Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrand Ki Jai Mahamantra Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Sarat Prabhu Dandavat Pranam Alvari Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna Srila Prabhupada.
So we'll have Kirtan from Kirtan party. Rajesh Govinda Prabhu and party.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Bala Hari Gopala Bolo, 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 Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Bolo, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Bolo, Govinda Bolo, Gopala Bolo. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sachinandana, Sachinandana, Gaura, 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 Hari, Gaura, Jaya Sachinandana, Gaura, Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jaya Hari Bol. Jaya Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol. Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kirtan party ki jai. Wonderful Kirtan. Thank you very much. Amazing. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam, all Guru Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dharan Pranam, Jai Prabhupada, All Glories Prabhupada. How are you all?
Nice doing.
Very, very nice. Once again, very wonderful, very ecstatic Kirtan. So nice to hear.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare, Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dharan Pranam, All Glories Prabhupada. Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Brajesh Govinda Prabhuji, Dharan Pranam, All Glories Prabhupada. How is your father doing? Last time we did the
Yeah,
Kirtan.
it's a little bit better, Prabhu, but it's not really cured. I think so because it need more, going to the hospital and also has been seeing the doctor. It's a little bit better in the before.
Well, the prayers of all the devotees
Yeah, please
are
pray
there.
for him, please.
Oh, Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, how are
Hare
you?
Krishna.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
Okay. All right, how is the volume now, Mukta Sangha Prabhu? Last time I know we're having a little
Better,
bit of
Prabhu. Volume is good.
Okay, good. All right, Prabhu, then I think let's just start with the recap, and we can do that quickly, and then we'll continue. Just go ahead with the reading, etc. for the verses.
Sure, Prabhu. So, anyone wants to take up, or shall I tell some points, whatever I remember?
You
Okay.
can tell you, Prabhuji. You can go ahead first and then I can talk.
Oh, okay. So,
Either way, Prabhuji.
yes, so we learnt about sloka 2.48 to 2.51. Basically, to start with, Krishna is telling how to perform our duties to Arjuna, and he should be equipoised. He should not worry about the failure or success, and should not consider the duality of this material existence, good, bad, or failure or success. You should abandon all that results, and because one can become success and happy only by performing the duties according to his dharma, not to expect the fruits of the activities. And because all this duality is just like a gambling, 50-50 chances of either success or failure. So why unnecessarily gamble? So you don't have to give up all this. And so Krishna is telling how always to be successful and happy by performing the duty under the direction of Krishna and for his pleasure, actually Krishna's pleasure. So he also says that we are not the enjoyer, so we are not the doer of the activities. So we should always think that Krishna has ordered us to do things and we have to do. So that is the yoga. That is the real linking between Krishna and us, the linkage. So that's what he says. Whoever wants to enjoy the fruits of activities are considered to be miser. So Kripana. So there's a difference between Kripana and Brahmana. Brahmana is always who gives, who is not selfish. But Kripana is a miser who always expects some results out of it, whatever activities he does. So he should be Brahmana, not a miser. That's all, Prabhu.
All right, Prabhu. Just a very nice recap, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji. So, I think 2.4948, I think Murli Prabhu, Muktasang Prabhu already covered. And then for 2.49, when you mentioned about misers, just like how misers, they don't spend, they keep like that. Krishna has given us this human body, and if you don't use it, then just like a miser, you're just keeping it as if saving it unused. That is not the way it is supposed to be. And that's why, because we don't use our human body, Krishna is referring to that word as misers. And then in 2.50 and 51, mainly in 2.50, Krishna said, don't perform all this because all this will give bondage. And why do you want to perform all this and fall into the cycle of birth and death? Because whatever you do all this, it will give bondage. So, and then in 251, he says, then what should we do? Like, because if you do all this, then you get into the bondage and cycle of birth and death. Then 2.51, he says, just do devotional service. And there, what is devotional service? How do we do is work anything because you want to make Krishna happy, and Krishna wants me to perform this. Instead of you thinking like how in 2.48 and 49, like it's for your gain or your success or your failure. You shouldn't think like that. Then you get bondage. Instead, you think, I'm doing this because Krishna wants me to perform. Then you won't have that bondage. Then how do we do it? Like every activity, you connect it to Krishna. Like, for example, you said, we eat. When we eat, we tell prayers. So you're connecting, you're offering prasadam, and when we are eating, we're telling, give control to our tongue. So why? Because we're connecting to Krishna. And then we sleep. We have to sleep. Otherwise, we can't maintain this body, and then we can't do the service. So like that, every action, if you connect it in connection of Krishna, and then to use the word Krishnized, like the consciousness, then that's what is how we do devotional service. And the purpose should be, we are doing this because Krishna wants me to perform this. So like that, he kind of explained in 2.50 and 2.51. And why we have to do this? Again, he reassures saying that you won't get bondage and you'll be escaping from these miseries of old age, birth and death. Then you gave example of Prahlad Maharaj. Like you said, we are also disturbed, and you gave the example of the birds. They come, and when they eat the grains, they look here and there because they're disturbed. Like that, we are all disturbed. But instead, if we think that if we follow the Guru Sadhu Sangha, like Guru scriptures and association of devotees, then you won't be disturbed, and you will feel in your conscious that you're doing this because Krishna wants you to do. He kinds of tells like a circle while I think that's all, Prabhuji. And Prahlad Maharaj also said in several places that our intelligence is low, slow, and we have short lifespan. We have to use it, but the thing is, we don't have taste for Krishna consciousness, and this is how we develop and we perform. You have to focus on the service. Don't be a miser. And I think that's all. I had made a note and what I could half remember and half seeing, Prabhuji. 100% I cannot remember. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very nice, Mataji. Very
Thank you,
comprehensive
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
recap. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody else? Okay, then I think we will continue with our with the reading. So we are done up till 51. So today we'll do chapter 2, verse 52, 53, 54, and 55. 2, 3, 4, 5. So, Muktasanga Prabhu.
Any kids? I would. Okay. Brinda is pinging. So yeah, Brinda, go ahead. 2.52.
Hare Krishna.
Can you switch on your video, please?
Yada te moha kalilam
Yada te moha kalilam
buddhir vyati tarishyati
Buddhi
Yatitarishati.
tada gata asi nirvedam
Nirvedam
shrota vyasya shrutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Very nice. So who else, kids? Please raise your hands. Okay, Tarun is raising his hand. I don't see Prajna. Suhrut Prabhu. Yeah, go ahead, Tarun.
Shruti up
Viprati
Vipyate Pannate
Shruti
Pannate
Yada
Stasyati
Sasyati
Nischala
Nishtala
Samadhav
Samadhav
Achala Buddhis
Achala Buddhis
Madhavatala Buddhis
Tada Yogam
Sada Yogam
Avapsyasi
Avyapyasi When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
Haribo.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Who else next? Prajna is there? Okay, Surat Prabhu. Okay, anyone?
Bhagavan Vacha. Arjuna Vacha.
Arjuna Uvacha
Sita Prajnashta Kabasha.
Sita
Prajnasya Kabasha
Adishtasya Keshava.
Samadhistasya Keshava
Stita Dir Kim Prabhasheta.
Kim Prabhasheta
Masita Vijeta Kim.
Kim Asita Vrajeta Kim.
Kim.
Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what are the symptoms of those one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk?" Thank you, Prabhuji.
Very nice.
Oh, very nice.
Rajna Mataji.
55.
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan
Bhagavan
Vacha
Prajahati Yada Kaman
Prajapati Yada
Kaman.
Sarvan Partha Manogatan
Sarvan Partha Manogatan.
Atmaneva Mana Shushta
Atmanevatmana Tushta
Sthita Prajnastadochete.
Sthita Prajnastadochete.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "O Partha, when a man gives up all his varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness."
Transcendental.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
So you want to read 56 also, Prabhu?
We'll do, maybe we can do 52, 53 again. Others may want to recite. Tyagu, you want to recite?
Yes. Tyagu Prabhu. 52. Tyagu Prabhu.
Your video's gone off, Tyagu.
Tyagu Prabhu, are you there? Yes.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Prabhu.
My volume is not good. I'm trying to
Now it is
fix
better.
it.
Now it's okay. Now it's
I couldn't
perfect.
hear you very well.
Oh,
Now it is good, Prabhu.
No, my phone is like something wrong with my phone. I'm trying to fix it. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So 2.52, can you read, Prabhu?
Prabhuji, 2.57, right?
no, we'll just
2.52.
Oh, sorry.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Prabhu.
Yadati maho kalilam
Yadate moha kalilam
buddhir vyatir taristyati
buddhir gati tarityati
tada gantasi nirvedam
tadagantati nirvedam
protavyasya srutasya cha. Translation: when your intelligence has passed out of dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Anybody else for 53?
So we have one new devotee who joined today for the first time. Her name is Gauri Ghosh Mataji. She's here. So Mataji, you would like to recite? Oh, she just dropped off. Okay. So Brajesh Govind Prabhu, your kids want to recite? You're on mute.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm here, Prabhu.
Your kids want to recite 2.53.
Sorry?
It wants to recite 2.53.
I can hear. Sorry. 2.53.
53.
Okay, one second. That's it. Here, 1 second, Prabhu. Shruti Vipratipanna
Shruti vipratipanna te
Jada Stashyati Nischala
yada stasyati nischala
Samadau Achala Buddhis
samadhav achala buddhi
Tada Jugam Abhapshashi.
tada yogam avapsyati. Translation to
Yes, Prabhu. When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trace of self realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness.
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
All right, Prabhuji, I think, I don't know if there's anybody else, otherwise we can. Prabhuji, would the kids, Anika or Akshat want to read?
They are listening, Ji.
Okay, all right. All right. All right, Prabhu. I think we'll proceed further with the invocation prayers and move forward. Om Agyan Timirandasya Shalakaya Yakshun Urminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Raghunatanvitam Tam Sanjeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Gagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namastute Kanchana Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatruyubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. So 4 very wonderful verses we are covering today because they are kind of tied together. So 52, Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tadagantasi nirvedam shrutasya cha. So here Krishna says, Yada te moha kalilam. Moha kalilam. Very interesting way to describe some of the things that Krishna has told Arjun so far. So he says, Yadate moha kalilam. Moha is illusion and kalilam is dense forest. Kalilam, dense forest. So Krishna is saying that this illusion meaning our attachment to material things. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. So much so that, see, we all want happiness. There's nothing wrong with pursuing happiness because we are originally spirit souls. And because we come from the spiritual world, our original nature is of Satchit and Anand, eternally blissful. We are eternal, meaning we are not supposed to take birth and we're not supposed to die. And we are supposed to be full of knowledge, just like the other residents of the spiritual world, and Anand, blissful. Because that is our original and constitutional position, that is why even in this material world, when we take birth here, we are still looking for that Anand. Where is that Anand? Where is Anand? Where is that Anand? So we are looking, we are seeking happiness. But the problem is, we don't know where to find that true happiness. So we think, okay, maybe I'll find it in this thing or in that thing or in that thing or in that thing. And all of these things that we are seeking happiness in, these are material things. For example, we might say, oh, if I buy that wonderful car, I'll be so happy. Or if I buy that wonderful house, or basically we we base our happiness on material objects. We base our happiness on acquisition of material objects, and that is our illusion. Why is that the case? Why is it that we are spiritual beings and we don't seek spiritual happiness, but we seek material happiness? That is because we are in this material body. We are in this material body, and this body is made up of senses. And these senses are controlled by the three modes of material nature. So in other words, our body is controlled by nature. And unless we develop spiritual intelligence with which to control the body and counteract the effects of the material nature, we will not be able to seek spiritual happiness. And so that's what Krishna is referring to here. He says this moha, illusion, oh, I should have this, I should have that material thing. This is like a dense forest. What is the special characteristic of a dense forest? Anybody? When you think of a dense forest, what do you think?
Wild animals.
You can't see clearly.
You can't see clearly. Yeah, and wild animals. What else?
Darkness.
Darkness, yes.
And you're stuck. You can't come out easily.
Yeah, you don't know the way out. Okay, so all of these things are relevant. So we are in this dense forest of material illusion. And each one of these things that you have named is there, and I'll try to explain how. So one point was, and please remind me if I miss any of the points that were raised. One point was that you cannot see clearly. Second point was you don't know the way out. If you cannot see clearly, obviously you don't know where is the way out, right? Darkness, because it's a dense forest. There's no sunlight coming through and you can hardly see in front of you. That is exactly our situation in this material world. This is like, so if you think about it, imagine you're standing in a forest, there are like 100 trees around you, front, back, left, right. Then you say, okay, I'll look up. And even when you look up, the canopy of the trees, the leaves is so dense that you cannot see the sky through it. You say, how am I supposed to come out of this place? So when we are in this material world, these trees are the attractions of this material world. Oh, this nice car. Oh, dollars, all these things. And so just like you cannot see beyond the first or second row of trees, we cannot see beyond the first or second row of attractive things. We just say, oh, this is very nice. Okay, if I get this, I'm very happy. So if you all heard the saying, to see the forest through the trees, right? In other words, when they say, do you get the bigger picture? In that context, there's a phrase in English where they say, can you see the forest through the trees? Meaning, can you see the path, the bigger picture? So this, in other words, the analogy is, think about your neighborhood. You live in a neighborhood, and let's say that that neighborhood, whether it is, I don't know, maybe it's 50 acres big. So 50 acres in the neighborhood, and it's full of trees, dense trees and everything. Now you cannot see what's beyond those 50 acres, right? But somebody who's living in a different part of town, he can tell you, well, you know, your little universe is only like these 50 acres. So see the forest through the trees, meaning try to understand that the forest that you're in is only limited to 50 acres. There's a whole separate world outside of it. So same way, Krishna is saying that Moha Kalilam, this dense forest of illusion, it's only a very small piece of my creation. It is not even like one little neighborhood. All the neighborhoods that we are aware of, all the neighborhoods in America, India, and this entire planet, everything belongs to Krishna. And not only on this planet, but in the entire universe, and not only in this universe, but in all the universes that are there. So you can imagine how big of a landlord Krishna is, right? Everything belongs to him. And he's saying, Arjun, you are stuck in your own tiny little neighborhood. So come out of this dense forest of illusion. You are only looking at, oh, if I fight, I'll kill my cousin, I'll kill this one. He's saying you are only limited to these little relationships that you're aware of because you are in this particular body of Arjun. If you were not in Arjun's body, then Bhishma Dev would not be your relative. Dronacharya would have nothing to do with you. And the Kauravas would have nothing to do with you. So right now, just because you are in Arjun's body, you are thinking that the universe revolves around Arjun's body. And so you are refusing to do what I am telling you to do just because you're thinking of, oh, I'm in Arjun's body. So this was my relative, that's my relative. And Krishna is saying, you forget about all of that. You listen to what I'm saying and don't be trapped in this little forest of illusion. So we've covered this forest is dense, it is dark, you don't know the way out. Oh, wild animals. We also said that there are wild animals in the forest. What is your biggest fear of a wild animal?
They'll eat you.
They'll eat you. It'll kill you, right? If it's a tiger, it'll kill you in its way. If it's a poisonous snake or something like that, it'll kill you. Meaning the fear of death. In this material world, and the connection is, in this material world, we cannot see these wild animals, but death is certain. They say as sure as death. Whoever is born, one day or the other, the person has to die. So these wild animals are there, meaning death is there. So this material creation is a dense forest, and it's a dense forest of illusion. All these distractions are there. And why it's being called a dense dark forest is because of these distractions, or you can call them attraction. Either way, if it is attraction to something material, it is distraction from Krishna, right? So that's why it's being called a dense forest of illusion. And Krishna is saying to Arjun that when your intelligence has passed out of this dense forest of delusion, then you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So he's saying, so far I told you about the Vedas and various other practices, etc., to elevate yourself to higher planetary systems and how to get good karma and things like that. But eventually, I want you to take to the process of bhakti yoga. And once you take to that process, first of all, your intelligence will become crystal clear. You will not be distracted by these various distractions of this material world. And then Krishna goes on to say in text 53, When your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained divine consciousness. So with this verse, actually with text 53, Krishna, this is the last verse that Krishna's instructing Arjun in devotional service in this section so far. Because in 54, we'll go on to a slightly different discussion. So up until here, Krishna is encouraging Arjun to take to bhakti. And why is he saying that no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas? Because Vedas, he's referring to the Karmakand portion of the Vedas, which promises if you perform this sacrifice, you'll get that result. If you perform that sacrifice, you'll get this result, so on and so forth. So, and we had discussed that the highest result that one should strive for is Krishna bhakti, and not simply elevation in this material creation. By performing certain sacrifices, one can actually elevate oneself to the higher planetary systems. But even there is stress. Even there is birth, death, old age, disease. All these things are there in the higher planetary system also. It is just the standard of living is higher, but you're not free from these 4 defects. Only in the spiritual world we are free from these defects. So up until here, Krishna is encouraging Arjun to now take to the path of bhakti. So in text 54, Arjun says, okay, but how am I to understand what exactly bhakti, the process of bhakti, what does it do? What do my actions become like? So he, in text 54, Arjun asks 4 questions. 4 questions. And what are the 4 questions? If anybody wants to repeat those, they are in the translation. What are the 4 questions that Arjun's asking?
What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? And what is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk?
Thank you, Prabhu. So 4 questions. What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? Question 1. Question 2, how does he speak and what is his language? Meaning, what does he say? Question 3, how does he sit? And question 4, how does he walk? And you might say, how does he sit and how does he walk? I mean, what has that got to do with philosophy? That has got a lot to do with philosophy because there is a lot of depth in these questions. It is not as if, does he sit on a couch or does he sit on a chair or does he sit, with his back straight or with his back slouched, or no, there's a lot more to it. And we will discuss all those things. So these questions are being introduced, questions are being asked by Arjun, because again, remember, Arjun is Krishna's eternal associate. It's only temporarily that he's put in this position where he's asking these questions for our understanding. It is as if we were told, please perform bhakti, and that's what we are being told right now, please perform bhakti, then naturally our question becomes, okay, how do I perform it? So these questions that Arjun is asking are really about how to perform devotional service. And we'll discuss a little bit about how these 4, what they mean exactly, what is the deeper meaning of these 4 questions. And then in 55, then Krishna starts explaining to him. And Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So this was the first question, meaning what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? So symptoms of his consciousness are, first one, that his mind is purified and it finds satisfaction in self alone. Now, what do we mean by the mind being purified? So the clue is given before that. Says, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification which arise from mental concoction. So this is a very important piece. Desire for sense gratification which arises from mental concoction. What is the meaning of mental concoction? Mental concoction is anything that you manufacture on your own. So mental concoction becomes, what are you manufacturing in your mind? Now, I think we can all agree our minds are super active, right? Agreed? Mind is always active. 1 second it is in America, second it is in India, third second it is on the moon. Mind is super active. And so mind is always making some plan or the other. Okay, tomorrow I'll do like this, then 6 years later I'll do like that, then I'll do like this, then I'll do that. And when we make these plans, what is driving these plans? A lot of times these plans are basically being driven by our material desires. Material desires. Oh, such and such thing is very nice, but it costs so much money. Maybe I'll save up so much. Then in 2 years' time, I'll have this. Then I'll do this. Then I'll do this. Then I'll do this. And then if the plan is not successful, then it leads to disappointment. So what we are trying to do is gratify our senses, gratify our mind, gratify our, these desires, material desires. And these desires are coming because of they're being manufactured here in our upper story, in the mind. The mind is manufacturing and saying, now I'll do like this, and so I'll get this, and then I'll be very happy, right? Whereas Krishna is saying, my dear sir, you are created by me. I have made you. If you just simply listen to me, I will give you the exact way how to be happy, and not 50% of the time, not 40% of the time, but 100% of the time. Last time we discussed that this mental concoction is a gamble. There's 50% chance of success, 50% chance of failure. Because whatever you do, you don't know 100% if you will be successful. You may or you may not be successful. You don't know. But when we pursue Krishna consciousness, when we pursue bhakti, Krishna guarantees us 100% success. So the point being,
Prabhu, you're breaking. Is that for everyone?
here is that
Yes, Prabhu, we cannot hear you.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Oh, now can you hear me?
Okay,
No.
yes, Prabhu.
I think there's something when I bring my phone close to the computer, then it starts doing all this stuff. I don't know what it is.
Maybe your,
okay. But anyway, now
your computer is Microsoft, phone is Apple. It don't go together.
Yeah, phone is Apple and computer is Toshiba. So the two are having a conflict here. It's like the senses, right? It's like the intelligence and the mind, or intelligence and the senses. Senses are saying, oh, do this. So intelligence, no, stop, So anyway, so Krishna is giving Arjuna instructions on how to rise to the level of bhakti. Why is that necessary? So before, of course, now Arjun's asked these 4 questions, and it'll take us a few sessions to kind of go through the answers for those questions. But today we want to focus on why is it important to focus on bhakti? Why is Krishna telling him it's important? And the reason for that is, first of all, think about it this way, that there are various levels of consciousness. In a human being, we are all human beings, and there are 6 billion human beings on this planet, if not more. But is everybody's consciousness the same? Definitely not, right? Some people we say are good, and some people we know they're not so good, and somewhere in between, whatever. So the lowest level, starting with the lowest level of human life is where a person simply wants to satisfy their senses. Simply satisfy senses. For example, oh, I must have money. I don't care how I get it, but I must have money. Whether I beg, borrow, steal, kill, do whatever, it doesn't matter. Money is the king. So, and there is absolutely no question of listening to any instruction from the scriptures. So that is considered the lowest form of human life, and it's compared to animal life. Because what does an animal do? Animal says, oh, I'm hungry, go eat. Oh, I'm tired, okay, go to sleep. There's nothing beyond that. So same way when a human being says, oh, I want money, don't regulate me, don't tell me what is good, what is bad, I don't care. I must just get what I want. That is called human being in animal state of life. Then higher than that is a person who takes instruction from the Shastra. So in our context, we say it's the person who takes instruction from the Vedas. And why I'm bringing all this up is because this is what Krishna is explaining to Arjuna. When he said, when you rise above when you're no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, etc. So we must understand why is Krishna saying that. So level 1 is human being in animalistic kind of way of life. Level 2 is where a human being takes guidance from Shastra. He says, okay, the Shastras, I believe in it. It will help me. I will take instruction from Shastra. But what do they take instruction in Shastra for? Only for satisfying material desires. And so Krishna was telling Arjun, your desire is for happiness. You are looking for happiness. And you are saying, Arjun, that you will not be happy if you went to war or if you killed these relatives. And the reason you're saying that is because you're thinking everything that's related to this Arjun body is what I should be guided by. And Krishna is saying that's not right. And when Arjun brought up things like I want to go there'll be sinful reactions, etc. So Krishna brings up the whole idea of going to heavenly planet, etc. So the point there is, if somebody is interested in elevating themselves to a higher form of material existence, whether it's to the heavenly planets or other higher planets, they must follow the instructions of Vedas. There are sacrifices and all that given. So when a person starts doing that, that is in this that is considered to be when a person says that yes, there is spiritual guidance, it becomes karma yoga. But there are different levels of karma yoga. One is nishkam karma yoga and other is sakam karma yoga. So this level 2, where a person says that, okay, I will take instruction from scriptures, but only for material sense gratification, that is level 2. Level 3 is level of karma yoga, where a person says, okay, but I can't just satisfy my desires, I have to actually do some spiritual advancement. But a person is still attached very much to the material desires or to the material fruit, sorry. So that is sakam karma yoga. You want spiritual advancement, so that is karma, through your actions, so that is you also want material results, so that is sakam karma yoga. And then 4th level is you say, okay, I am above now. I think this material desire, gaining material fruits is not the ideal goal. So then a person comes to nishkam karma yoga. Nishkam karma yoga, using their actions to attain the Supreme Lord without looking for fruitive results. And that's what Krishna explained to Arjun in that karma evadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, that you have a right to perform your actions, but not to the fruits of the results. So that is level 4. And then higher than that, there is Gyan Yoga. And then finally, the highest is Bhakti Yoga. And that is the highest level where Krishna wants Arjun to go. And these 4 questions that Arjun is asking will lay the path for how to advance up these levels and finally reach the stage of Bhakti Yoga. So that's the groundwork that I wanted to just kind of lay out today. It's just a little framework so that when we discuss the answers to those 4 questions, we can understand them in the context of this yoga ladder, it is called, rising from one step to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. Actually, time is kind of 8:52. So let me just wrap up quickly.
Excuse me, Prabhu.
Mataji.
Can you go over that again, please, if you don't mind? I'm sorry, I'm writing it down. I'm just a little confused.
Okay, Mataji.
Please, please, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure, Mataji, of course. Till what do you have down so I can accordingly go from there?
Okay, this is, you were talking about the 4th level, and then there are 2 different types of karma. Is it akarma and nishkama karma?
Right.
And when I was writing it down, I just, the words were not forming correctly. So I don't know, I misunderstood or something.
Okay, so first level was human beings living like animals. So it's animalistic human life. That's level 1.
Okay.
Then level 2 is where a human being engages. Basically, they want to satisfy their material desires. So, but they take instruction from Shastra. So that is called karma kand.
Okay.
That is level 2.
Okay.
Then level 3 is where a person says, you know, there has to be some spiritual advancement also. I'm just staying stuck in all this material desire satisfaction only. So when you start thinking about spiritual realization, then level 3 comes in, which is karma yoga.
Okay.
And then karma yoga has 2 parts. One is sakam, S-A-K-A-M-A, sakam meaning with. Kama is desire. So sakam is desire for fruitive results. So it's sakam karma yoga. You're following the principles of spiritual advancement, but you also want material results. So that is sakam karma yoga. And then, so that was level 3. Then level 4 is nishkam karma yoga. So these are 2 levels of karma yoga. And nishkam means nish, without, kama, material desires. And that is the stage that Krishna was explaining to Arjun in text 47. I think it was 47. Karma adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Yeah, 47. Karmani adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Where Krishna says you should be focused on performing your duty without desire for fruitive results. So that is nishkam karma yoga. So now, basically, when a person is following nishkam karma yoga, and don't want to complicate it too much, but you heard of the modes of passion and goodness and all that. So in nishkam karma yoga, one is actually elevating to the mode of goodness. Sakam karma yoga is mixed with passion, because passion leads to all this desire for fruitive results.
So for nishkama karma, so we worry about the, we don't worry about the fruitive results. I mean,
Yeah. So in nishkam karma yoga, the practitioner is performing karma or action. But how is he performing action? He's performing it for the satisfaction of Krishna.
Okay.
That's why it's called yoga, because yoga means linking with God. So karma yoga, but nishkam, you see, every action produces some result. So when the practitioner says that the result will come to me by Krishna's will, by his mercy, by his desire, whatever Krishna desires, and I will accept whatever he gives, I am not attached to it, that is nishkam karma yoga. So the practitioner gives all the results of his activity to Krishna. So that is in the mode of goodness, and that is nishkam karma yoga. Below that is Sakam Karma Yoga, which is in the mode of passion and a little bit of goodness. But when a person is very attached to the fruits of their action.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Mataji.
Appreciate
And
it.
then the highest, of course, is Bhakti Yoga. So that is even higher than Nishkam Karma Yoga, but it leads to wanting to do everything only out of love for Krishna. So that is Bhakti Yoga.
Mhm. Okay, thanks for the explanation. Thank you.
Welcome, Mataji. So, so one last thing that I'll just cover before, because it's almost 8:57. So, so Krishna is asking Arjun to advance towards Bhakti Yoga. So we might ask, that's all. That is a very nice. That is the focus of Bhagavad Gita, to attain Bhakti Yoga. But how will we know in our day-to-day life whether we are making spiritual progress or not? How will we assess for ourselves whether we are making spiritual progress or not? So Prabhupada describes that you are the best judge, of course, other than Guru and Krishna. You can judge your own spiritual progress yourself. And how will you judge it? By introspecting that how much attachment do I have for material possessions and material things. We all need material things. See, there's no question we need a house to live, we need clothes to wear, we need food to eat, we need a car to go from place A to place B, so on and so forth. But how obsessed are we with these things? Do we want these just for the sake of having them, or do we use them to further our life in Krishna consciousness? And if we are using all these assets to further our life in Krishna consciousness, then it's the right use of these assets that Krishna is giving us. So we can assess for ourselves, how are we using the resources that we have at our disposal? The more you use your assets for spiritual progress, the less interest you will have in pursuing material temptations. So we can assess that for ourselves. It's like Prabhupada says, it's like a glass. You have a glass of water. If you want to pour milk in it, then you have to pour the water out. If you pour half the water out, you can only have half milk and half water. If you pour 80% of the water out, you'll have 80% milk and 20% water. So same way, our heart or our minds or our intelligence can be 10% spiritual, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80. That is up to us, and we can assess it. So one practical example and question is, we all have time at our disposal. And on Friday evening from 7:30 to 9 o'clock, what would you be doing with your time? You could be doing so many things with your time. But what are we doing here? We are discussing spiritual topics. We could be watching TV. We could be doing anything else also. We could be going to a store, something like that, whatever. But we are dedicating this time. We are setting aside this time for making or for engaging in spiritual discussion in Krishna Katha. And so this is a test for us, for ourselves. Nobody has to tell us anything. We can ask ourselves, do I feel like it? Do I have an interest in it? Or do I not have an interest in it? And assess for ourselves. So same way, in every act, 24 hours a day, we could assess, am I somehow connecting it to Krishna or am I not? And the key is, we don't have to become sadhus I mean, we want to become sadhus, we are attempting to become sadhus, but not in the commonly understood form of the word, meaning you wear your dress changes or you live in a a small hut somewhere. A sadhu is in heart, in consciousness. As Prabhupada described, this is Krishna consciousness. So when our consciousness becomes attracted to Krishna, then we are devotees, then we are sadhus. So that's what we are trying to become. And it is up to us to assess our own progress in ourselves, in our day-to-day lives, and we can help each other in that. So like Muktazanga Prabhu has very nicely arranged for this conference, where we try and dedicate a little bit of time in our week to discuss spiritual topics. We are using our technology, whether it's phones, computers, and things like that, in Krishna Katha. So these are all good uses of our assets, and good use in the sense that it is going to take us more and more. It's going to help us progress more and more in Bhakti Yoga. All right, Prabhuji, Mataji, I'll stop here. Let's open it up for questions and comments. Or
Very nice explanation, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
you're welcome, Prabhu.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed some portion of it. I was also listening to Amarendra Prabhu's Chaitanya Charitamrita class. So,
Oh, that must be very nice.
yeah, the last portion he was explaining, going verse by verse. Thank you.
Ah,
Then I was rushing to join here. Thank you. Sorry.
you're welcome, Mataji.
Very nice class. Thank you.
Tyagu Prabhu had something.
Yeah.
Raji,
Yes, Prabhu.
I'm just listening and discussing with my friend.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Ji.
Seems like no one is having any question. It's very clear.
It's very clear. Or maybe I should ask questions.
All the ignorance will come up.
No, pop quiz. What was level 2? No, I don't have to answer that. That's okay.
By next week, probably we'll hear this recording again and again, and I can answer next week. Mm.
I mean, the whole idea is that with discussion like this amongst each other, it helps us understand the philosophy a little better. For all of us, the association is inspiring, and it kind of helps us make an attempt to try and clarify these concepts. We've all heard of these things growing up, and in India you hear all of this stuff, but we never approach it from a more I want to say introspective way, or in a more analytical way, or in a more so-called educated way. But in this kind of a forum, it gives us the opportunity to do just that.
Prabhu, I have a little thoughts here.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, we always think about who am I question when we were growing up, or I mean, not when we were little. We used to listen to different kathas and all kinds of things. And I think at that time, even when we asked questions, our parents were not able to tell you exactly what they were feeling like, or what it was supposed to be. And I guess, I mean, we have so much of doubts in our mind, which philosophy we were like going in a mumble jumble way, going hither and thither.
Right.
Because we were expecting some very good explanation from our parents. I think because of their, I mean, they understood, but they thought we were not ready to listen to their scriptures or something.
Right.
So at least, in this country, all these little children learning 5, 6-year-olds are giving lectures and all, and that is so commendable. And they have opportunity to listen to different things, various sources. I think because of this technology, I think they were able to gather more information, do things. In our days, we couldn't even afford to get big books, Bhagavatam books and all. Only we can borrow from somebody. They wouldn't even give it to you in those days. Not that many household has all these books and all. And even though we had a lot of questions, I think we did not get clarification from our parents. I think only because of we are reading it through Srila Prabhupada's book and other things, we got some kind of glimpse against to ponder on these things, what it is, what are we supposed to do, am I doing the right thing, and what is the goal of our life, and all these questions, philosophical questions, come into our mind. And we also ask about consciousness too. What is it, what is the right way to think about certain things. I think because of a lot of exposure to books and different things and lectures, we are able to guide ourselves a little bit better. But still we are affected by material nature. All kinds of things come in, because of where we live, what we do.
Yeah.
But still, at least we are asking the questions and we are listening to lectures. Today, Amarendra Prabhu was explaining about impersonalism. We are supposed to know about impersonalist because if we are following the Gaudiya Vaishnava, we should know what they were, talking about impersonalism and all. So he was, he said, I'm not just preaching, I'm just giving you the correct explanation of what they were thinking about. So that was really good. And I think, even though Krishna, he keeps on telling Krishna, Krishna is telling Arjuna all these things. Arjuna is still, is not ready for the things, I think, right? And same thing, I guess, even though it was meant for Krishna, Krishna meant for Arjuna, we are supposed to think about it and see it's actually for us to know, human beings, how to conduct ourselves, how to approach our spiritual problems, what to do with ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. All of this is meant for us, and Arjun's questions to Krishna are those of an ordinary man to God. So questions that we would have as ordinary people. And so that is the beauty of Bhagavad Gita. And the other point that you said right in the beginning, Mataji, that when we were growing up in India, we never probably got satisfactory answers to certain things. And that is where, we every day, we feel so thankful to Prabhupada that it is because of his sacrifices that we now have all these resources at our disposal. We are having this discussion. It's not because I know anything that is special. We are just reading what Prabhupada has explained. We are just hearing now, like you said, you heard Amarendra Prabhu. Amarendra Prabhu is talking exactly what Prabhupada is saying. And we are all here trying to understand what Prabhupada is explaining. Prabhupada himself being an educated person, and of course, he was not an ordinary man, because any educated ordinary man cannot do what he did. But day by day, when we keep reading and understanding and feeling that now all this is making sense to us, what we used to hear as children and stuff like that, and what answers I couldn't get as a child, I can find them here. It makes you feel very fortunate and very thankful. And then one realizes, how did Prabhupada know all this? How is it possible for a person, for one man to know all this, unless he's special? And Prabhupada not only knew everything about like Shastra, but even like simple material things. Like just some time back, we were eating dinner and my wife was explaining to me one of the recipes that was actually Prabhupada's recipe in Yamuna Devi's cookbook. And he explained to her how to make that rice, Pushpana rice. And he said in Bengali, it's called Pushpana rice. But when you write this book, you write in a royal rice. And that royal rice is fantastic. I mean, the recipe, I don't know fully, but it has deep fried nuts in it and pure paneer. Prabhupada knew all of this. Now, let me actually, we were laughing about another thing that most women should know, but consciously or unconsciously don't know. How many pleats are there in a woman's sari? Javiri, ask Deepika Mataji if she knows.
Yeah, she said it depends upon each person.
Like 5 to 10 maximum.
Prabhupada said the sari has got 7 pleats. And my wife was actually counting. She said this comes to exactly 7 when I tied like this. Standards are how. See, I mean, this is a very simple, very, very simple example. It has nothing to do with depth of philosophy or anything. But the reason Prabhupada brought it up is because when he came to the West and he was teaching his Western Mataji disciples how to wear saris, he had to tell them how many pleats it was supposed to have. So he knew cooking, he knew Shastra, he knew clothes, I mean, everything. It's amazing.
Yeah, true.
It takes years to write a book. There are so many authors, best-selling authors, this thing, that thing. It takes them years to write books. And Prabhupada is translated. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam we are reading, Prabhupada translated. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada translated. Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada. I mean, how did he even know so much? First of all, when you try to read the Sanskrit, I mean, I have studied Sanskrit, I've studied Hindi as a kid in school. But when I see Bhagavatam, some words I just cannot read in the Devanagari script because it is too complicated. But he could read also, explain it also, give purport also. See, there are Sanskrit scholars. Sanskrit scholars can actually translate. They will tell you that if the word is Arjuna Vacha, it means Arjun said. So a scholar can translate, but a scholar cannot give the purport. A scholar cannot give you the spiritual meaning of the verse. He can just translate it word to word. He can translate this Sanskrit in English means this and this and this and this. But Prabhupada could translate also. He could give purport also. We are very fortunate that we have access to all this.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Any other questions or thoughts, comments, questions? Today, Ramchan Prabhu is busy.
It was very nice class, Prabhuji, but I was mainly listening, but I couldn't take much notes because tomorrow is exam for Bhakti Shastri, so a little bit.
Good luck.
That's very quiet.
That's why I'm like, okay, I still didn't want to miss the class, and then I thought, okay, but again later on I can listen to the video and then make notes. So at least I didn't want to miss the main part.
Well, that's wonderful. Good luck
Sorry,
with the Bhakti Shastri class.
Yeah.
No, that is wonderful.
Good luck, everybody.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Most of us are writing.
Exam
Yes,
fear.
Prabhuji.
Oh,
Maybe
well,
that's
good
why
luck
it's more silent.
good luck to all of you. It's a
Thank
very,
you,
very,
Prabhuji.
it's a very valuable instruction to take. So valuable course.
Understanding is okay, but too much to remember, like any other exam. So it's, thank you,
Bhakti
Prabhuji.
Shastri is for you. You all might want to explain what it is. just for the benefit of those who don't know what is Bhakti Shastri.
Yeah. Bhakti Shastri is a course. Actually, we are under going through this IBMB, ISKCON Brihat Mahavidyalay from Govardhan. So this is a course which is 3-part, basically nectar of 4 parts: nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, Ishopanishad, and Bhagavad Gita. There are 4 parts to it. So we go over, not the entire thing, but at least some part of each book. And of course, Bhagavad Gita will go over all 18 chapters. They teach us each sloka by sloka. And currently we finished all 3 other books: Ishopanishad, Nectar of Instruction, and Nectar of Devotion. So we are doing Bhagavad Gita now. In that Bhagavad Gita, there are again 3 divisions: 1 to 6 chapters, 7 to
12.
7 to 12, and then 13 to 18. So we just finished 7 to 12, and that is the exam we are going to take tomorrow. And we only finished 1 to 6. We finished the exams. It'll be closed book and open book exam. Open book is that you can write essays on those questions, whatever they give. And closed book is that you cannot see any, you cannot refer any books while writing. You have a time limit of 2 hours within which you have to finish all those questions what they give. So each question carries several marks. And yeah, so that's how it is. So we are in the.
So do you have to get minimum grades to pass?
I think it's 30 marks or something. I forgot. Yeah, others can correct me, but so for each exam you have 30 marks, I think, to pass. Out of
some kind of weightage for closed, they have some weight percentage for open, and then for shlokas memorization and attendance. So all 4 together. I think this closed book is for 70 marks, but pass mark is, I think, 40. I don't remember exactly the introduction.
Basically lays the foundation very nicely for understanding our scriptures.
It's a very intense course. It's 6 months. So we have classes like Monday to Saturday, every day classes, 2 hours class.
In the morning?
Yeah, in the morning. Now it is 9:30. Time has changed. It is 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning EST. So Monday to Saturday. Sunday is only day when we get chance to review all that what we have learned.
And it's actually as per India time night, but just because we are in US, it's morning class for us.
Sometimes they do it without classes. I mean, they just send you the materials and you do it in your own time.
There are other institutions who does that, So anytime it can finish within 1 year, 2 years, whatever time you take.
Yeah, that is more self-paced.
Yes.
Well, good luck with that, and
yeah,
I'm sure you all will do very, very well with Krishna's mercy.
Yeah, then they can guide us. They can teach us how to go about it.
Yes.
Without memorization for me. I lost my memorization capacity. As long as I can remember my name and Krishna's name, that's all I can.
First thing we learn in Bhakti Shastri course is that once we are done with our course, we get certification. Don't show off you are a Bhakti Shastri student.
Yeah. They make you learn what are called the key memory verses from Bhagavad Gita, Ishopanishad, Nectar of Devotion, the key verses. So
yeah,
and it's all very nice, very structured, and it's all in Krishna's service. All right, Prabhuji, Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much.
Before we let you go and others go, I'll have a couple of announcements.
Yes.
So tomorrow we have, as she said, we have Bhakti Shastri exam, 5 to 7 evening, and then 7:30 we have Ajita Prabhu class, regular Chaitanya Bhagavad. If you could, the different credentials, I'll send that. And then Sunday is our Pavanda Pravachan, series, so kids can preach. So this time it is Mishuk Prabhu from Fort Myers. He's 15 years old. He'll be talking. So please join at 10 a.m. EST on Sunday. That is Pavganda Pravachan. Okay, and I have to apologize to everyone that I was supposed to send the drama script, but I couldn't because of my tight schedule at office. I couldn't do that. But by tomorrow latest, I will send. And please give your names and your kids' names, specifically your kids, because I want everyone to participate. If you can, give your kids' name, and then we can assign roles. So by tomorrow, we'll decide all that. So we'll have sufficient time. We have 1 week. We can practice, or it's over the internet, so it's easy. Now we can as well see the script and then read out and enact. It's not that you forget some dialogues and all that. So it's easy if it is through internet. So we have sufficient time. We'll do 3-4 practices before Friday. So next Friday is our drama day on the occasion of Gaura Purnima. Okay, so that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalpatruvyascha kripasnubhyeva cha
Thank you, Vaishnava.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhupada. Thank you.
Jai.
Jai
Jai.
Shri Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.